Ethan was an ordinary guy. He lived a simple life. He worked at a dead-end job. He spent his days in a monotonous routine. He dreamed of more, of adventure and purpose. He longed for something extraordinary. Ethan spent his evenings lost in fantasy novels. He devoured stories of heroes and magic. He imagined himself in those worlds. He wished for a life beyond his own. He never expected his wish to come true. Ethan stood in awe of his surroundings. Lush green grass stretched as far as the eye could see. Exotic flowers dotted the landscape in a riot of colors. Strange birds sang enchanting melodies in the air. The air hummed with a strange energy. It was a place unlike anything he had ever seen. In the distance, a majestic castle rose above the horizon. Its towers seemed to touch the clouds. The castle shimmered in the sunlight. It was crafted from a material that seemed to glow with an inner light. This place was magical, enchanting, and utterly unreal. Ethan pinched himself, but the sensation remained. This was no dream. This was very real. He was in another world, a world of magic and wonder. This realization filled him with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. He was terrified of the unknown, yet excited by the possibilities. As he took a step forward, Ethan realized something strange. He was no longer wearing his work clothes. He was clad in shining armor, its surface cool and smooth against his skin. His hand instinctively went to his side, where he found a sword sheathed in an intricately carved scabbard. He drew it slowly, the metal gleaming in the sunlight. The sword felt strangely familiar in his grip. It was perfectly balanced, its weight distributed evenly. It hummed with an energy that resonated within him. As Ethan held the blade, images flashed through his mind. He saw battles fought in faraway lands, mythical creatures, and a darkness threatening to consume this world. Ethan shook his head, trying to clear the images. He dismissed them as his imagination running wild. He was still trying to grasp the reality of his situation. He was in another world, dressed as a warrior, armed with a magical sword. It was all too much to comprehend. As he looked around, he noticed a figure approaching in the distance. It was a woman, her long silver hair flowing behind her. She moved with an ethereal grace, her footsteps silent on the grass. As she drew closer, Ethan could see the wisdom and power etched on her face.
So the prophecy has come to pass. You are here, Ethan, the chosen one. You have been brought to Arlios for a purpose.
Before Ethan could even process his surprise, the ground began to tremble. A low growl echoed across the meadow. From the forest edge, a monstrous creature emerged. It was unlike anything Ethan had ever imagined, even in his wildest fantasies. The creature was massive, its scales shimmering like obsidian in the sunlight. Its eyes glowed with a malevolent red light. Its jagged teeth were bared in a menacing snarl. It radiated an aura of pure evil. Fear, primal and instinctive, coursed through Ethan's veins. He had never faced danger like this before. He had never even been in a fight. Yet, as he met the creature's gaze, something within him shifted. He felt a surge of power coursing through him, emanating from the sword in his hand, the Blade of Ages. The creature lunged at Ethan with terrifying speed. He instinctively raised his sword to block. To his surprise, the blade moved with an agility he didn't know he possessed. It deflected the creature's attack with ease. He felt a strange connection to the sword, as if it were an extension of his own will.
You are the chosen one, Ethan.
The woman's voice cut through the chaos. Her voice held an unwavering calmness that belied the dire situation.
The Blade of Ages has chosen you. You must fight.
She raised her hand and a wave of energy erupted from her fingertips. It struck the creature, forcing it back. The woman, Ethan realized, was not a helpless bystander. She was a powerful sorceress. Her power was palpable.
My name is Alara. I am here to guide you, Ethan. You have a destiny to fulfill.
Destiny? What destiny? I'm just Ethan, an accountant from Earth.
Alara shook her head.
You are much more than that now. You are the one spoken of in the prophecy. The one destined to defeat the Dark King and restore balance to Arlios.
The reality of his situation crashed down on Ethan. He was no longer in his world, living his ordinary life. He was in Arlios, a world teetering on the brink of chaos. He was the chosen one, destined to defeat an evil he could barely comprehend. Alara led him to a hidden grove deep within the forest. The air hummed with a powerful magic that sent shivers down Ethan's spine. This was a place of ancient power, a place where legends were born.
This is where your training begins. You must learn to control the power within you, Ethan. The fate of Arlios rests on your shoulders.
And so began Ethan's transformation. He trained under Alara's watchful eye, learning to wield the Blade of Ages with deadly precision. He discovered a strength he never knew he possessed, a resilience forged in the fires of 1,000 battles fought in his dreams. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Ethan learned to harness the magic that flowed through Arlios. He learned to fight with a warrior's grace, his movements fluid and deadly. He was no longer the awkward accountant. He was becoming the hero he was destined to be. Section 8. The Bonds of Companionship. Ethan wasn't alone in his journey. As he trained, he encountered others who opposed the Dark King's reign. They were drawn to him, to the hope he represented, to the prophecy that bound them all together.
There was Liam, a skilled archer with a quick wit and even quicker reflexes. He was a loyal companion, always ready with a joke to lighten the mood. His arrows, guided by an uncanny accuracy, were as deadly as they were beautiful.
There was Anya, a fierce warrior with a haunted past. She fought with the ferocity of a cornered wolf, her twin blades dancing a deadly ballet. Behind her stoic facade, Ethan sensed a deep well of compassion and a thirst for justice.
And then there was Kale, a rogue with a heart of gold. He was a master of stealth and deception, his movements swift and silent as a shadow. His knowledge of the land and its secrets proved invaluable to their cause.
Together, they formed an unbreakable bond, forged in shared hardship and unwavering loyalty. They were more than just companions, they were a family, bound by destiny and the shared goal of defeating the Dark King. Section 9. The Perils of Arlios. Ethan's training was only one part of his journey. Alara revealed that to defeat the Dark King, he needed to unite the 5 ancient artifacts scattered across Arlios. Each artifact held immense power, and together, they were the key to breaking the Dark King's hold on the land.
Their quest for the artifacts led them through treacherous mountains, across scorching deserts, and into the heart of ancient ruins. They faced monstrous creatures, each more terrifying than the last. They confronted the Dark King's followers, their ranks swollen with those seduced by promises of power.
Ethan and his companions fought with courage and determination. They faced every challenge head-on, their bonds deepening with every victory, every scar a testament to their unwavering resolve. Ethan's confidence grew with each passing day, fueled by the belief in his destiny and the unwavering support of his companions.
He had come to care for Arlios, for its people, for the beauty that still lingered in its shadowed corners. He was no longer fighting just to fulfill a prophecy. He was fighting for the future, for the hope of a world free from the Dark King's tyranny.
Section 10. The Arrival at the Capital. After months of perilous journeys, Ethan and his companions finally reached their destination, Eldoria, the capital of Arlios. The once great city was now a shadow of its former glory, shrouded in an oppressive darkness that seemed to seep from the very stones. The weight of their mission pressed down on them as they made their way through the deserted streets. The citizens, their faces etched with fear and despair, huddled in their homes, afraid to venture out. The Dark King's presence loomed over the city like a suffocating shroud.
We are close, Ethan. The High Council awaits us. They need to see that the prophecy is true, that there is still hope.
The High Council, composed of the leaders of the 5 ancient kingdoms of Arlios, was all that remained of the land's former unity. They had gathered in Eldoria hoping for a miracle, a sign that the darkness could be defeated. Section 11. The Hope of a Kingdom. The council chamber was filled with an air of tense anticipation. As Ethan and his companions entered, all eyes turned to them, their gazes filled with a mixture of hope and skepticism. The weight of their expectations was palpable.
He stood tall, the Blade of Ages gleaming at his side. He had faced countless dangers, overcome impossible odds. He had grown from a reluctant hero into a leader, his resolve tempered in the fires of adversity. He was ready to face his destiny.
"We have come to offer our support," Ethan announced, his voice echoing through the chamber. "We have seen the devastation that the Dark King has wrought. We have fought his forces, and we will continue to fight until Arlios is free." The council members murmured amongst themselves, their faces etched with a cautious hope. They had heard whispers of the Chosen One, of the prophecy that promised salvation. Now, standing before them, was a young man who carried the weight of their hopes and dreams. "The fate of Arlios rests on your shoulders, Ethan," the High Counselor said, his voice heavy with the burden of his position. "We place our trust in you, Chosen One. Do not let us down."
"I will not fail you," he vowed. With newfound purpose burning in his heart, Ethan stepped forward, ready to embrace his destiny and lead Arlios into a new dawn.